The police officer was writing a single dad a ticket when she said, "If you weren't married, I'd add my number." Marcus sat in his beat-up Honda Civic on the side of the highway, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles had gone white. In the rearview mirror, he could see the flashing red and blue lights painting the interior of his car in alternating colors. His heart wasn't just racing because he'd been pulled over. It was racing because he knew he couldn't afford whatever ticket was coming his way. Not this month. Not when his daughter's medication was due for refill tomorrow, and his bank account was already screaming for mercy. He watched through the side mirror as the officer approached, and his stomach dropped even further. This was it, the final straw in what had already been the worst week of his life. But what happened next would change everything he thought he knew about kindness, and about the strangers we meet when we're at our lowest point. Before we continue with Marcus's incredible story, I want to invite you to join our Heartfelt Moments family. If you believe in the power of kindness and real human connection, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a story that might restore your faith in humanity. Drop a comment below telling us about a time someone showed you unexpected kindness. And if this story touches your heart, give it a thumbs up. Now let's get back to Marcus and the police officer who was about to write him a ticket that would change both their lives forever. Marcus rolled down his window as Officer Sarah Chen approached. She was young, maybe in her early 30s, with her hair pulled back in a neat ponytail and eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "License and registration, please," she said, her voice professional but not unkind. Marcus's hands shook as he reached for his wallet. "Officer, I know I was speeding. My daughter, she's 6, and she's been sick. And I was trying to get to the pharmacy before they closed because she needs her inhaler refilled and—" His voice cracked. He hadn't meant to break down like this. Not in front of a complete stranger, but the weight of everything just came pouring out. Officer Chen took his documents and paused, really looking at him for the first time. "Where's your daughter now?" she asked. "With my neighbor. She's watching her while I run errands. I'm a single dad and I work 2 jobs, but it's still barely enough, and now this ticket—" Marcus trailed off, embarrassed by his own honesty. He expected her to lecture him about how everyone has problems and the law is the law. Instead, Officer Chen did something unexpected. She walked back to her patrol car, and Marcus watched in his mirror as she sat there for what felt like an eternity. He imagined her running his license, probably finding old parking tickets he still hadn't paid, calculating how much this new violation would cost him. When she finally returned, she wasn't holding a ticket. She was holding her personal business card and a $20 bill. "Mr. Parker," she said, using his name from his license, "I'm not going to write you a ticket today." Marcus started to speak, but she held up her hand. "Let me finish. I was raised by a single dad, too. My mom left when I was 4, and my father worked himself to the bone to make sure I had everything I needed. I watched him skip meals so I could eat. I watched him wear the same worn-out coat for 5 winters so he could buy me a new one each year." Tears were forming in Officer Chen's eyes now, and Marcus realized this tough police officer was sharing something deeply personal with him. "He died when I was 22, right before I graduated from the police academy. He never got to see me in uniform. But I know what he'd want me to do right now." She pressed the business card and the 20 into Marcus's hand. "This isn't a bribe or anything official. This is just one human being helping another. That 20% should cover your daughter's copay at the pharmacy. And that card has my personal number on it. If you ever need help connecting with community resources, food banks, assistance programs, anything, you call me. There are programs out there that can help single parents, but they're hard to navigate alone." Marcus couldn't speak. He just stared at this stranger who had seen him at his most vulnerable and chosen compassion over citation. "One more thing," Officer Chen said, a slight smile breaking through her professional demeanor. "If you weren't married, I'd add my number to that card for different reasons. You're clearly a good man doing his best for his daughter. But I saw the ring tan line on your finger. Recent?" Marcus looked down at his left hand, at the pale band of skin where his wedding ring had been until 2 months ago, when he'd sold it to pay rent. "My wife passed away 8 months ago. Cancer. I only took the ring off recently because I needed the money more than the memory." He said it plainly, but the pain was evident. Officer Chen's expression softened even more. "I'm so sorry. Listen, Marcus, you're doing an incredible job in impossible circumstances. Your daughter is lucky to have a father who loves her this much. Now go get her that medicine. And drive the speed limit." As she walked back to her patrol car, Marcus sat there in stunned silence. Then he did something he hadn't done in months. He smiled, a real, genuine smile. This stranger had given him more than $20 and a business card. She'd given him hope. She'd reminded him that kindness still existed in a world that had felt so cruel lately. 3 weeks later, Marcus used Officer Chen's card to connect with a single-parent support group and a program that helped him get better health insurance for his daughter. 6 months after that, he was in a better job with benefits, and he started volunteering at a local community center, helping other struggling parents navigate the system. And every time he helped someone, he thought of Officer Sarah Chen, the police officer, who chose kindness over protocol, who saw a struggling father and decided to be the help he desperately needed. Sometimes the smallest acts of compassion create the biggest ripples. Sometimes all it takes is one person choosing kindness to change someone's entire trajectory. Be that person when you can. You never know whose life you might save with a simple act of humanity.